Hey guys, this is James, Vice President of MyoBlox,
John Foster, Aaron Boy, MyoBlox.
and we're here in Parkland, Florida. And the brand has really been expanding the last year, and we're getting a lot of questions on the brand. Who's behind this? A lot of questions about the products, what's in them, what is special, what makes us different. And so we figured we would bring it back to the beginning and tell you guys the MyoBlox story. So I'll bring it over to John. And when did you start MyoBlox?
May 2011, and originally it was supposed to be more of like a bulk quantity like type of company where I supply like omega fatty acids and like packets of like 1,000 soft gels or bulk protein. And it was very, very simplistic, like what the company was about. But like in turn, like I started formulating the product and stuff, and I came out with a product. It was a pre-workout. It was called BSTMD. And what it was a lot of like focus analogs, energy catalysts, and people really liked it, and I actually liked the art that kind of went into formulating, because it was, the label, it was the formula, the flavor, the whole like delivery that made everything like very sound with the product, so I really liked that whole concept of being able to create stuff. So I've always been a big fan also of like limited edition products. I mean, as you know,
Yeah.
But I made my first limited actually in 2012, about a year later, and it was called Purple REM, and it was a sleep product, and it was like a lot of GABA. And if anybody knows anything about GABA, man, is that if you take that stuff, it puts you like fucking out.
Yeah.
It was almost too strong though. Like I almost got scared sometimes taking it before I went to sleep. Like I used to like take it and be like,
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is that a big focal point, of MyoBlox is our limited editions, and our ability to kind of go outside of the box, and to make things that are very different and at the same time very fun too. Not only are our limited editions a different kind of formula, it's not like a different variant. It's like a different variant exactly of the year-round product, and the flavor will be different as well. So a lot of companies, and I'm not bashing or anything like that, I think it's cool that everyone's doing limiteds now, but everyone's doing like limited edition flavors, and well, that's cool. I've seen it before time and time again and stuff, and that's not too hard. You just change the flavoring. But what we do is we kind of start back on the the whiteboard, and we kind of add in a couple different ingredients, and then we go with the flavor. So that's kind of like what we've been doing, and it's really progressed since it's now 2018, and a lot has changed. I mean, the integrity's still always going to be there, but the volume's definitely higher than what it was. So and you have something to do with that. So you can even touch base on that, and how much we've grown these past 12 months. And we're not 12 months new. We've been around since 2011. A lot of people think we're brand new, and we're not.
So I know you've obviously showed me some of your formulas and things like that. Did you do the flavoring, formula, ingredients? Tell me a little bit about that and how you started formulating these products. Did you just reach out to a manufacturer and say, hey, could you make this for me? Or did you actually kind of put these together yourself?
I put them together. I used to get all the raw materials and stuff, not like in big giant quantities, but I used to always make prototypes. I used to work for a supplement shop back in the day in 2007, and I used to literally just have like little like packets on me of like other types of all these like ingredients. Like even when I was there, I would just like test them, like what did like like the citrulline or bacopa or just any kind of ingredient. I always used to kind of like log it and do my own logs, and I nerded out all the time on ingredients. So since then it's progressed a lot, and I've always been very like sound of making my own type of products, because I think you can't get too far in this industry if you're just relying on someone else to do all the work.
Yep.
And I really like to create, so for me it's much more of like an art, that goes into making a product. I always kind of thought of myself more as like a chef, and it kind of goes back to that whole thing of like proprietary blend or full like disclosure. And while full disclosure is great, everyone in the industry is kind of taking that leap, and what's happening though is that everyone's kind of doing the same stuff now. Everyone's using the same amount of citrulline, the same amount of beta alanine. Everyone does 3.2 or the clinical, and well, that's good and all, but every brand now is looking very, they're coming off of an assembly line, they're all looking like each other because everyone's showing each other what they're doing. Now that's not a problem, but I mean, if you really like what you do, and I love what I do, and we both do, and I kind of want to keep a little bit of a mystery for the product, because at the end of the day, if we make great food, I'm not going to tell the restaurant next door how I made that great food.
Of course.
That's French Laundry, Napa Valley. You go there for a very expensive meal. I don't think they're going to tell you exactly how they made their food. They'll tell you what's on the plate, and I can do that. But I think, as an artist, I think it's good to have mystery,
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I know the 2 limited editions ago was the Loco Cinco, and now we did the Rainbow Haze.
Yeah.
And there's things in the blend that we changed up.
Yeah.
And the customers will ask, well, what's different about this one? And we'll say, hey, we added this, we added that, and then we changed some things in the blend.
Exactly.
So it actually is a mystery.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the best things when I was taking supplements and, started working at the stores is that I was always excited for what was going to come next. And when that product did come in, I was excited to see what type of results I would get. I didn't know, hey, this product is going to make me feel this way. It's with a lot of these products, you kind of flip the back of them and say, okay, I know what this product is going to do. I know exactly what it's going to feel like because I've tried these ingredients at these dosages before.
Yeah.
With MyoBlox, it's cool because you don't know. It's that experience is going to be different, and you don't know what to expect really. We kind of hint a little bit of what this formula is going to be about, what this series is about, but when you don't know it, you kind of want to buy the product and you want to see what it's going to feel like, see the pumps, see the energy you get.
Exactly, and that's also one of the reasons why I like the limited editions, because if you use something for so long, you get very accustomed to it. So I always want to kind of keep everybody on their toes with all the limited releases that we do. It's always going to give you a different feel, and I always feel you're never going to get used to the products.
Yep.
Especially the pre-workout, that's the most important thing, because everyone gets so used to a single product, and then before they know it, certain ingredients aren't working on them anymore. I mean, caffeine, it gets such a tolerance so quick. I mean, it's insane, So I mean, that's kind of why I like to do what we all like to do, and I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, I gotta say so myself. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I don't think a lot of companies are doing limited edition like products.
Yeah.
Just the flavors. So. I think it's just all about the entire delivery, like from the formula to the flavor, and branding is branding. I have fun with it. It's not. I don't put that as a main focal point of MyoBlox. I just love design. I love plating. I love print. So it just kind of goes with what I like to do. I never put that as the focal point of, why you should use the product. The formulas are great and they work great. And everything's very well dosed, everything's very well balanced as a product, so.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean,
Well, I know a lot of people ask me, and so I figured I'd put this question on you.
Yeah.
What does MyoBlox mean? Where did you come up with this name?
It's funny actually. I was actually in a rebranding phase in 2011. I was changing the name, and what I was putting all these names together. I had all you gotta create your own name. So I had probably a list of 1,000 words, and I just kept shifting them, putting them together. But in the end, I actually threw the whole list away, and then MyoBlox just kind of popped up in my head. And what MyoBlox means, because myo means of muscle, and blocks is like building blocks. So when I kind of put them together, I liked how it sounded, I liked how it looked, but at the same time I loved the meaning though, and it means to build yourself, and it doesn't necessarily mean in a gym setting or in any kind of physical setting. It's just in general in life. So we are a lifestyle brand, because as much as I love the gym too, I'm outside and I'm working probably 12 to 14 hours a day, so that's why we have Skywalk. It's our nootropic product, and it replaces coffee or any energy drink because it gives you the right focus agents, and the alpha GPC for the acetylcholine in the brain to help you function throughout the day. So while you can build yourself in the gym. You can also build, a lifestyle just around every focal point. It's building yourself in the gym, outside, health, internally, in every facet of your life. So that's kind of what MyoBlox is about.
Well, I noticed when you first sent me products to try and we connected, I noticed that I was using the more products more often than I have from any other brand I worked with, and that's what kind of like a lifestyle brand means to me, where you could kind of incorporate these products into every aspect of your life. It's not like it's a crazy high stimulant energy thing or a hardcore anabolic pro-hormone, which you can only take 4 weeks. These products you could take year round, from when you wake up to, products at night, and you could take them all the time and you're not going to have any adverse reactions or anything like that.
No, not at all, and, to even touch base on that, like, I can use a pre-workout for like 6 to 8 weeks, and if I do decide to get off for a little bit, I can still take the product below, because it's no stims and it has more of like a pump based, background. So there's things that you can keep using of just about anything, year round, as long as you kind of like dose everything correctly. Rubik's you can stack with the pre-workout, or you can stack with a thermogenic because it doesn't have any stimulants. There's no caffeine, so everything is very much to be able to be used year round. And that's like what a lot of people are liking. I mean, our wholesale accounts love that. All the people who use the brand loves that. So, we've had nothing but great feedback, and it's been insane. It truly has. So I'm very happy of how everyone's receiving the brand, and how it's really being used as more as a lifestyle opposed to just being a gym-based brand.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know we write on our products, art, craft, science. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. I mean, it's the whole delivery. Like for art, and I'm not meaning drawing pictures and things. A lot of people think oh, that's great art. It's not. To be good at something, you have to really put a lot of time and effort into creating things. And for the art of MyoBlox, what I like to do is from start to finish, everything needs to be very sound. Whether it's the formula, it's the flavor, the branding, every little aspect of what makes a product is the art. And the craft is that diligence to detail. That's really what I'm obsessed. Sometimes, you can even see this. Sometimes I even change the gradients. It took me 12 hours to change the gradients just because I was just so back and forth, but I'm obsessed with it, and I love it. And that's what craft is, it has to be very diligence to detail. And the science, everything needs to be sound. You have to make a product that actually works for it to sell, for people to like it. And, good peace of mind, I would not want to make a product that just didn't work. There's no point in that, I'm sure there's brands in the past that have probably done things like that, but that's what art, craft, and science is to me. It's from start to finish that makes a product very sound and that works very good on every single aspect, and that's my biggest focal point for MyoBlox, and that's what I really am focused with.
Yeah, and I noticed that when I first got the product and I was checking them out, I've never seen anything that was, what's great on the outside is as good as the inside. You might have brands with great branding, but then the product isn't that great, the actual ingredients. Or you might have brands that have awesome ingredients and super high doses, and they don't look that great, and the branding isn't fun. MyoBlox was the first company that I've ever seen to kind of do it all on a next level, with the ingredients, the unique formulas, the great packaging, the great branding, and it just really makes you want to get involved with the brand and want to see more. Oh man, you guys are doing this, I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of goes back with the thing with MyoBlox, what a lot of people like is the culture associated with it. It's just it's a lifestyle brand, but I get messages all the time, and sometimes it's not even about the product. It's just about oh, I love what you're doing. It's so inspiring that you can do this and this, and I love this product. But also, you know, it's something non-tangible that people are getting from the brand as well as something tangible. So I think we're really hitting it on every single note. While people love the product, people really like what the company is about. And I think that is becoming almost one of the biggest focal points of the company. People really love what the brand is about.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy. It's been nuts. I can keep saying it all day. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's great. You know, I think we're doing very good as far as like coming out with the products, and you know, I mean, everything's just been good.
Well, what about the names of the products? So you have Loco, Blow,
Yeah.
Illo. Where did you come up with all these
Well,
names?
Loco's funny actually. So the product back in the day, it was called BSTMD, but I changed that to RPX. Okay, and I did a limited edition, I think in 2012. It was called RPX Loco 100, and there was only 100 units made. It was fucking nuts. But the flavor was margarita. And I only got that idea because one day I was like sipping on a margarita. I'm like, this tastes fucking good. And it was so refreshing. I'm like, I need to do like a limited flavor with this one. So we did margarita. It was actually very good because it had like a creatine hydrochloride that was like from it was so like sour. So it just really helped bring out the margarita taste. But that's how that product actually happened, because people received it so well. It sold out instantly. It was only 100 units, of course, but I was such a smaller company back then, so that was still a big deal to me. But then people liked it. It was kind of more like it came out on Cinco de Mayo, but that's how it came out with Loco. People were calling it Loco instead of RPX, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like this better. It's actually more brandable and it flows a little bit better. So that's kind of how we came out with that, and that's why that's out. And you know, Illa, I've really been wanting to touch base on this one probably since I saw this one review company talk about it. Illa is not slang for iller or anything like that. It makes no sense to me. Illa was from a limited I did. I'll backtrack real quick. I used to have a product called AminoSyn, which was like Amino Synergy. That was in 2011. I changed it to ASYN to make it more short and more concise. But I did a limited edition called ASYN Gorilla Juice, and it was received so well. So what happened was I just took the ILLA from Gorilla and I just named it Illa. You know, so it kind of had more of like a story like to it, you know, because I wanted to call it Gorilla Juice, but I don't think I was able to. So I wanted to just take a piece of that and call it something different. And you know, when you call products really what they are not that brandable. I mean, I'll give it to you like this. Apple, for example. When you think of Apple, you think of the computers and the tech. But they didn't call it ultra premium computer company that took over the world. They called it Apple. So, you know, it's you have to call something a little bit more catchy, I think, for it to even stand out. And you know, every name that we have has a story. Blow, it's not supposed to be slang for the drug. Okay, everyone's like, oh, that's so funny. It's like, no, dude, it's not even close. Like blow up, like expansion, blow, volumize, fullness. That's why it's a pump product. If it was a pre-workout and it was called Blow, it would be a different story. But it's not a stimulant-based product. Nor does it have caffeine. It's just volumizers, you know, pump-inducing ingredients. For Rubik's, you know, I tie certain names together, you know, to get these, and they all have meaning. You know, Rubik's, Ruby, X, Phoenix, put those together, Rubik's.
Yeah.
You know, so I can keep going all day on this.
Yeah,
too,
they all make sense.
But they all make sense. You know.
A thing you touch on is, you know, there's always a story behind the product or a story behind the ingredients or the formulas. And, you know, I've explained that to people. You know, you got to have a good story. And a lot of people are like, what do you mean story? You know, we're just taking supplements. Mm-hmm. So could you elaborate a little more on, you know, what does a story mean to you when we say that? Hey, you know, there's a story behind this product. There's a story behind the formula. What do you mean by that?
That it has more meaning. It's not just we didn't come out with it to just make like sales or anything like that, you know. And it goes back to the non-tangible thing you get from the brand because we have a very good story. It wasn't just like, you know, I started with this board of directors and we crushed it out the gate. Like, no, dude, like I mean, everything has a story because everything does have a story. Like, MyoBlox has a very good story. You know, it started in 2011, and I think I started with like $870 probably when I just got it to like have this like raw material like whey peptide with like cocoa powder in there and stevia, and it tasted like shit. I mean, it was god awful, but people loved it. It worked really good. You know, it had a low molecular weight of 1,400 Daltons. I'm speaking Chinese now, no one knows what I'm saying. But it worked very good. That just means it has a smaller particle size and it can be absorbed quicker. You know, so when you hear like low molecular weight, they have to specify the Dalton size, particle size. But yeah, everything has to have meaning, and you know, everything does. It just means so much more to me that it has more meaning. You know, I mean, making great products is good, but I think even, you know, I think every company has a story and they just don't really tell it. They don't tell it that great, you know? So, I mean, I think for everything that we do has so much story, you know, and you gotta really like, it's hard to even say it. I mean, it's without telling the story, you know, why we have a story. I didn't try to have a story, we just have a good story, you know? So, yeah, I mean, like every ingredient that we do use, you know, it does have a story. I've used all the ingredients before. Everything, you know, we have used. I've used it single-handedly, like by itself, or, you know, paired up with something too. So everything, I guess what a story is, it has to have meaning, you know, and everything has to have meaning for the product and the company, you know?
Yeah, of course. Well, I know you said the company started in 2011, and just about a year ago, we started expanding the company out worldwide.
Yeah.
Are you glad you waited that many years to expand the brand?
Yeah, you know, I made a lot of mistakes with the company when we first started, and they weren't on any big scale, but it's a learning process. You know, it's kind of like playing college ball. You know, before you go to the NBA, you know, I got to learn the fundamentals. You know, I knew how to make product, I knew how to do this and that, but there was things I'm still learning now as we kind of go on because there's new avenues. And, you know, I mean, right now for us, it's just keeping things in stock. That's the hardest part, I think, as this company grows. But yeah, I am, you know, I actually really enjoyed, you know, when I was just starting out, to be honest, like just even when I had like just a couple products and my product runs were like 110 units.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that was all I focused on was just making the product. I didn't have to worry about any review company trying to rip the company or anyone doing this or, you know, things being out of stock. I had things in stock all the time. I just was able to sit down and create stuff. It was more about like just only about creating the product, you know. So there's so many more pieces to the company now, so it's overwhelming, you know.
Yeah, and I know a big thing too is as we expand, we really want to try to keep MyoBlox as authentic as possible.
Yeah,
you know, it's
100%.
From what you got in 2011 is going to be very similar to what you get in 2019. You know, we're not going to change much. We're going to keep it as authentic as possible.
100%, and that's what took us so long to grow. Actually, is because the integrity had never been sacrificed. You know, if I wanted to, you know, do a big deal with a big old, you know, chain of stores, I could have just cheapened the quality, gave them great margin, and blah blah blah. But I never wanted to. I just want to make good stuff, and you know, if people don't like it, well, whatever, you know, and that's fine. But it took us this long to be the company that we are because we have started with the same integrity, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the, you know, scaling a company with the same integrity that you started with is the hardest part, and I think we've really accomplished that pretty damn good. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty happy about it. I really am, and you know, everyone's been doing such a good job. You know, with you know the stores that support us, overseas distribution. You're killing it. Team back in Cali's killing it. GC's killing it. You know, I think everyone's doing a really good job, and I think that this is like really what it takes to be a great company. You know, and not just like a great company, but making great product. I think a lot of brands could be a great company and not make a great product.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that they have the financials to prove that they're a great company, but how is your product? How did it make me feel? Did I like it?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the best companies should make the best products, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really not that way in the supplement industry. You know,
No.
the best, biggest companies usually don't make the best products. The smaller companies make the best
The
products.
smaller ones do, and you know, I love all the small companies like in the industry, you know, because I feel I feel the pain, you know,
Yeah.
starting a company, man. So it's like, you know, and man, it's crazy because you're constantly like in that debate with yourself as a company. It's like, okay, I can grow more if I did this, but I want to hold back off that because I really just want to be over here and doing what we've been doing, you know. And you know, slow growth is great growth.
Yeah.
Growth nonetheless.
Yeah.
If you hold on to that integrity and not sell your soul, I mean that's how it has to be. There's
Yeah,
gonna
you
be
have
no-
more longevity that way,
way
for
more
sure.
longevity. You know, I want to be like Legos. I want to be out forever. I want to be like Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not the prequel franchise. I'm saying like the
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6.